Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rumble and Roar podcast. I'm your host, Lenoria, and I have a wonderful guest. You guys know me by now. I'm always excited, always grateful for my guest. I have Linda, Miss Linda, right?
Yes.
Miss Linda here with me, and this month is September, guys, and it's appropriate to talk about childhood cancer because September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And February 15th is, is International Childhood Cancer Day. So we're going to talk about childhood cancer. My guest has a grandchild who actually had cancer, and she's going to share a story with us and tell me a little bit about certain things of what he went through and tell you guys as well. So just in case, it just might help you. It just might help you, because you're thinking, oh, okay, what's wrong or whatever. Some of the signs that she noticed, she can help you out with it. So let me see. How do you know that your child has cancer? These things here, guys, this information I'm bringing to you, I got from Google. I want to make that clear. And some of the things that I'm bringing to you, of course, is Linda. Miss Linda will be able to tell you from experience. So, and the question is, how do you know if your child has cancers? These are some general common symptoms. Now, guys, when I was reading this, these signs are like regular everyday stuff. So how in the world, this is so, once we get into the show and more into talking, you'll understand why I feel like I do, because you would be a basket case just thinking all kinds of stuff all the time. Because, okay, let me go back to it. What are some of this? These are some of the general common symptoms. Having flu-like symptoms that don't go away, such as lethargic, high temperature, being sick. We all do that now. I mean, not often, but I guess, let me keep reading. Unexplained or excessive bleeding, such as in your urine, your poop, or just being sick all the time. That could be almost anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you would just never know. That's why when I was reading this, how would you know the difference? Bruising easily, or a rash or small red spots on the skin called petechia. Y'all know I'll chop up some words, but that's it. I broke it down as petechia. Petechiae, that's what it is, petechiae. So when your grandbaby, how did you know what was some of the signs that you noticed that was going on that made you say, wait a minute, I need to, okay, these are some more possible signs. Guys, I'm jumping. This is my other one. Possible signs and symptoms of the cancer in children. Unusual lump or swelling. Guys, this is in adults as well. Unexplained paleness and loss of energy. Okay, easy bruising or bleeding. We set that on the other one. And ongoing pain in one area of the body. Unexplained fever or illness that doesn't go away. Okay, I saw a movie like that where somebody, they had a sore and that sore would never get healed, and that's how they knew. Frequent headaches, often with vomiting, and that could be somebody that's with a migraine. I mean, you just don't know that these are cancer. You thinking when these things happen and it says, now this I never knew. Sudden eye or vision change.
Yes.
So what out of those signs, which ones that and I know your daughter probably, she has to be the strongest girl. I think anyone that has a child who has cancer, has gone through cancer, they're strong, guys, because that's just something nobody ever want to hear. No one. So I'm bouncing. But what out of these, which one, or not which one, what are the symptoms that you notice in your grandbaby?
See, that's the thing. Cancer, you don't notice.
You don't know. What do you mean you don't notice? You don't.
It lives in your body before it surfaces.
And that's another question. I mean, a thing that I have on these cards, and it did say certain ones you will notice right off the bat.
Yes.
And then some will say, yes, for like years or months. Okay.
My grandson, his was not detected till the damage was done. And what I mean damage was done was, he was walking, and then he stopped. He did a lot of crying. He didn't allow you to touch him. He had no symptoms, no signs. We kept taking him to the ER.
He didn't allow you to touch him?
No, he would usually let you hug and hold him, and then he just stopped. You touch him, he screams.
Oh, geez.
He put his foot down, he screams. And I kept telling my daughter, I said, there's something wrong with him. Let's take him to the hospital. So we took him to the ER. They came back, there's nothing wrong. We don't see anything wrong. Just give him some medication, take him home. We took him home. The visit was 4 times before I said, don't bring me any more interns. I don't want anybody to test them. You can get me a real nurse in here now. So one of the head nurse at the front desk heard me going off on the interns, and she came in. She said, what's the problem? I said, I'm not getting complete answers. This woman is guessing.
Oh my goodness.
Can I get somebody who knows what they're doing? And she said, ma'am, I'll take it from here. So she sent all the interns away. And
did you let them know that, look, I've been here 4 times?
Getting to that, what happened was when she checked on the paperwork, the intern was still holding the paperwork. Okay. She said, well, they've been here 4 times, and I'm looking at this paperwork showing that his arm is healing. And I looked at it. I said,
so what was wrong with his arm?
It was broke. It had been broken.
What the fuck?
It had been broken twice. The cancer had been in him so long, and we had not detected it.
Oh my gosh!
He had a broken arm. He had our.
That's why he didn't want you to touch him.
Legs. It was in his legs. And they were like, I don't understand. So the lady's like, well,
I'm so sorry, Miss Linda. I'm not trying to cut you off, but I'm trying to catch this story, guys. So his arm had been broken for a while, and nobody knew it?
No.
And when you touch him, he
was screaming.
So you had to know that his arm was broken?
No, we went 4 times to ER.
Yes.
They never mentioned. Now, if it was broken, it should have showed up on the first.
Right.
We were on our 4th visit in 3 months. They didn't diagnose it until the intern came, and she said, well, there's nothing wrong. His arm is healing. And I said, excuse me, what did you just say? She said, his arm is healing. And at this point, we feel like it's abuse.
Abuse?
They call defects.
Oh, can you imagine okay, calm down. That's the last thing you want to hear when you know you have not been doing anything to your child, and a doctor come out and make you a suspect or that would be so ugly with some cray people out there. Oh, that would be so ugly.
That's what the doctors, coming from
But they have to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
You've been here 4 times with the same kid, and now his arm was broken, but they didn't find it. So I asked her, I said, well, if this was the case, the 3 visits before, why wasn't it found? And she said, we didn't see it. But the head nurse, she did an in-depth search, and she found it. I said, well, if we were abusing him, do you think we'll come to the same hospital?
Or to the hospital, period, because they know, I guess.
What she did, I said, I'll tell you what. Because they kept us in the room. They had the defects there. They had the officer there saying we couldn't leave with him.
The officer?
They had all this. When I came in, I think the intern had notified that this child has been there like 3 times. This is the 4th time in 3 months. So, of course, that's suspicious to anyone. But,
I guess, that is their job.
For the public, what you need to do is make sure you are paying attention, because you will not see it. He was still moving around. He was just a little bit different. He wasn't acting the same. He stopped completely walking. He wasn't really talking because he was young. He was turning 1 when they found it. But by the time they found it, it had already broken the bones. They had started breaking his bones, which is why the arm was broken. But the arm was healing when they found it. So it doesn't leave any scars except for on the parents. It's a hard thing to live through because you don't know with every visit to the hospital whether it's your last with that child.
Once you find out.
Yes. And then the thing about it is, you cannot break down. You cannot feel different because he feels or she feels
see
what
it.
you feel. Yes, they did. We didn't get a chance to do much of anything because one, I was distraught about them saying we were abusing our grandson. My daughter's in the corner, don't know what to do because now the doctor comes in.
Oh my God.
And he's looking at me. He's like, "What's the problem?" I said, "The problem is you guys got these interns in here doing half a jobs and not knowing what they're talking about. And I need someone who knows how to read an ultrasound." So he picks the ultrasound up. He goes, "Oh, I see the problem." So I'm looking at him and I'm looking at the nurse. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, he got spots on his bones." And I looked at him. I said, "So that means what?"
So why, wait a minute. So the first 3 times they did not do any x-rays, anything.
Found nothing. Found nothing. I don't know when the intern came in.
So when the doctor picked up the paper and he looked and he said, "Okay, I see there are spots on his bone." Why everybody else that read the paper couldn't see that?
That's why I said stop bringing me interns because they don't know what they're doing. They are,
But they can
training.
read.
Well, an ultrasound is not easy to read. You really have to have
If your
an
ass
eye
went
for it.
to if you went to school for it, you should be able to read it. What are you doing up
well,
in
You know
there?
how some people can take a test and pass, but you don't know anything about the system.
Oh gosh.
The reason I told them to remove the interns is because she comes in like, "Well, this has happened before," and I'm like, "You don't know what you're talking about. Don't say anything else." So like I say, the charge nurse heard me going off. She came in.
before.
Yeah, she said, "Well, his arm is healing," which means they had to seen it before, but no one mentioned it to us until that 4th visit. So at this time, we got all these folks in there trying to keep us in the room, and I'm looking at her, and the doctor walks in. I won't say he's arrogant, but you got to understand, a doctor cannot.
There is no time for that kind of stuff when you are going through something with your child. You cannot have a doctor that is not.
Insensitive. We considered it insensitive.
And then your emotions
In the
and
field,
everything.
right? In
I
the
get
field,
it, I
he
get
can't
it.
afford to be, attached to every case. He will lose himself. A doctor. They have to be, I guess, kind of standoffish.
understandable.
Yeah, tell you what's going on, and then they have to.
But to me, there are certain
Way to deliver things.
and not only that, not just a doctor, but anyone that's dealing with like children, a doctor, customer service. But customer service is not as fragile as a doctor or a daycare provider or a nurse. You really have to be careful the way you deliver anything. And if you are having a bad day, I don't want to know it. You still, if my child is hurting and I'm coming in there for help for you, and you just had the worst person that you just talked to or worst, I don't care what's going on with you. When you see me, you gotta just, come to me correct, because the energy that you bring, you're gonna get it times 9 billion if you're fooling with me and my child, because that's insane. I can't even see that all nurses should be compassionate to me. They don't have to wear everything on their sleeves and be like, oh, okay, breaking down and all of that. But you still got to know that a mother is in there, and she's not in there to play patty cake with you. She's in there because something is wrong. Yes. Anytime you're at the hospital, the emergency room, something's wrong. Your brain should already, if you're on that side and you are a nurse, your brain should already know that whoever this is, I have to treat them with the trauma. They're traumatized. Yes. Something's going on, something's bad, so let me help them in some kind of way. You can't come out and just be a doctor. Well, I see this on their arm, and you were here 3 times, and let me just call the cops, and this, that, and the third, and the other. That is crazy to me.
But it happens.
And
I had one nurse who was very loving. She stuck with us. She saw the pain we were going through. She said, "I'll be his private nurse from now on." This lady took great care of us. But the doctor came in. When he came in, he said, "Yeah, I see what the problem is." He wasn't being detached, as you will. I said he was being an ass.
An ass?
Yeah, because the way he delivered it, it was like, "Yeah, he got cancer. Okay, bye." And then he gets up and walks out.
No, wait, stop, hold up.
Yes, I joke.
Freeze frame.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. You just said that he just said, oh yeah, he has cancer?
That's exactly what he did. He looked at the
Can y'all believe that?
And he turned around, he said, he has spots. He says, "I see spots on his bones." And I looked at him, and I looked at the nurse. She's like, you know,
What does that mean? Because
that's
me,
what I said.
I would have to say, what does it mean? I don't know what a
I
spot on
asked
your
him, I said,
bone
what
means.
does that mean? He turns and looks at me. He goes, oh, he has cancer. He gets up, and he walks out of the room. I look at the nurse. I said, what just happened? Why did he just walk away like that? She said, I'll explain in a minute. I said, why are these people here? She said, this is defects. And I said, who called them for what? Long story short, they thought we were abusing him. But the nurse said, don't misunderstand his actions. I said, at this point, you
Don't
cannot
misunderstand.
I told her, I said, you cannot.
You didn't misunderstand it. You read it right.
No, but when she broke it down and told me why, she said, you got to understand, this man sees this 20, 30 times a day.
But you still can't go numb to stuff like that.
He has to.
I know you would have to go numb to if, but it's still a way to
It was,
to
and that's
tell
what I told
someone.
her. That was the conversation before reality
I
slapped
don't care if
all
you've
of
been
us.
in 50 billion years and you saw 900 children dying. That 901 child, you still have to. If when that mother breaks down, I'm so sorry. Be compassion. You know, say something to help. Don't be just like, oh well, here we go again. And then again, I'm thinking he's a human being too. It might get to him.
I'm sure. But
And
he's
he
not
probably
allowed
had
show
to
it.
get out of the way.
And that's what he did.
You know, because he's hurting, because you're hurting. And now, because that would be me. My daughter loves, I know I'm going to the left, but we'll bring it back. My daughter loves, she's in school now for nursing. She loves nursing. She knows that field. And I had her hollering because I said, no, I could never be a nurse. And I said, because I am so sensitive. And I'm so compassionate.
You wouldn't
and,
survive.
Oh, girl, somebody can come in there, something can be wrong. I'll be fucking crying harder than they would.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
So you can't
I'll be
do
crying.
that,
And
you
I
have
know.
to be strong for not only the kid, but the parent.
But I know that. So that's why I told her I could never do that. And don't bleed on me. Shit, I'm passed out. Your ass bleeding out. Because, no, I can't do it. I can't. I could not be a
certain
nurse.
fields I would never touch.
Yeah.
Social worker.
But I could be a daycare provider because I nurture. I love to love. I love love, not just with daycare with couples. I love love, but a nurse takes a whole different, you have to be a different person, mindset,
Yes, you do.
everything. And I'm sorry, let me bring it right on back. We're talking about cancer
You
here.
have to remember that our case wasn't the first.
Right.
This man was not even at work when they called him. I said, don't bring me any more interns. Don't bring me anybody guests and get me a real doctor.
They called him
She
in.
was a real nurse. They called him in, so I could see where his difference was. He probably had done a 24, 36-hour day, and he went home. But he was called back. He showed up, and he looked.
That ain't your fault, though.
That's true, but you gotta understand, they are human too.
Yes, they are, but certain fields, it doesn't, hey.
It doesn't. But
You
he
still got to bring it the
when
right way.
He saw how devastated we were. So he looked. When he looked, he said, "Yeah, he has cancer." And it was not how do you say? He didn't word it correctly. He just, "Oh yeah, he has cancer."
But
then he looked at the
you know
room.
what? Usually, I'm so baffled with this. Usually they have to do a biopsy. They have to do something to make sure.
They
You
did the
can't just look
X-ray.
at some shit and say.
You can if you know what you're looking at.
I guess so.
And
And if you've seen it a billion times.
Right,
Okay,
and
okay.
he was a
girl.
specialist. So when he came in, it didn't take him. He says, "Where's the X-rays?" And she gave it to him. He said, he lifted the ultrasound. And he did this, and then he turned around, and looked at the room, and I guess he saw how distraught everybody was. So he looked. He said, "Oh yeah, I see what the problem is. He has cancer." And that was it. Nothing. No telling you what the deal is. He gets up and he leaves, and I'm looking at the nurse. I said, "So why is he so cold?" And she said, "No, Mom, calm down." She said, "He has to stay in that mode because if he keeps telling these parents about the cancer in their kids, he would not finish out his day. He would break down. He would be no good to nobody.
He is a
so
human.
he has to stay strong. He has to stay detached."
But
I said,
to
"But
just
there's
say
a better
it-
way to do this."
Yeah,
She
just
said,
to say it and walk off.
She said, "But being in his field, he cannot afford to put that emotion in there because he would not finish his day because he would be in his office crying."
And
about
you know
every
another
kid.
reason why I could not be in the nursing field or something is because I would be a coward. If I had to tell somebody their child passed or they got cancer or something bad, I'll send the intern or the nurse in there. I would not be able to say it.
But can you imagine that? Seeing that 5, 6, 7 times a day? And these are parents, new parents, don't know anything about it and has to deal with it.
I would be a coward to that. I could not do it.
I had the nurse, I'm so grateful for her. Her name is Molly. She had
You remember?
yes, she still remember him. She had a new position in California. She refused to take that position until she saw my grandson to the end. She stayed with him. Everything that was available out there for him, she made sure he got it every single time.
That's what I'm talking about.
They
Those
flew
kind of
them
nurses.
everywhere. Any tickets, any games came up, she would give him stuff for that. If he wanted to go maybe to Miami to have a meal, they would send him there. He did a Make-A-Wish, got everything. They asked him what his heart desired. He said he wanted to go to Disneyland for 8 days. They sent him there for 12, all expense paid. Everybody he wanted to go. They take care of these kids, but not everybody makes it. There were 9 in the class. Well, I won't say class. There were 9 families that came in with the same dilemma that we did.
At the same time?
Yes. So that's a very busy...
So how did you get to know them, though? Y'all had a group,
What we do is, once they find out the kids have this,
Right.
they sign these kids up from the hospital on the Aflac. So, everything through Aflac is pretty much free. They sign them up for everything
No,
out
I didn't
there.
know that. But, okay.
Yeah, they signed them up for everything that caters to the kids. And they do that because they don't know if they're going to wake up the next day. You could be fine on Tuesday and you could be, demising on Friday, because that's how cancer is. Depending on what it attacks and where it attacks, you don't live long. So what they do is they bring all these patients together. It's called the Sunshine House. You may have heard of it. Or the Ronald McDonald House.
I did on the
Yeah.
Ronald McDonald one, because
Yeah.
when I said at the end of this, I was going to say
They
donate,
throw-
and
yeah.
that's one of them.
They throw parties. They every year, every season, every holiday, they gather all these kids and just give them the world.
And that's what I was, it says, coping with the diagnosis. And you just said some of the things, but it says, coping with the diagnosis, learning as much as possible. Did y'all learn about the disease?
I did.
Okay. Did you keep a journal? Because it says keep a journal of the feelings about the disease and how it affected your life.
It's
But
a
nobody
lot-
is thinking
okay.
about writing down anything. You're just thinking about holding
see,
your baby.
Well, I'm a health nut anyway. So what I did was, after we got over the initial shock, you had to start thinking outside the box. Okay, he has cancer. What can we do?
Right.
From a parent's perspective, you can only love that kid, take care of that kid, pay attention to what's going on, because not only with his cancer, the medication, they were giving him so much medication, it was killing him anyway. They don't have, see, what parents don't know about cancer in kids, there is no medication for them.
What?
There's no medication for kids. What they're doing
What
is
about chemo and radiation like they do with the older people? They can't do that?
they shouldn't, because it's not designed for small bodies, nor is the medicine. What they do is they take the adult medicine and they chop it down to try to fit the weight and the size of the kid. Now, with this being said, sometimes it works and the kid is prolonged in life, and sometimes it kills them right away because the body doesn't accept it. But it is not for, there's no cancer, there is no medicine for kids. They are breaking it down to weight size. Body
Really?
mass.
How do you know that?
Because I asked questions to the nurse, and she would kind of give you information. She said there is no real medicine for the children.
That doesn't sound right. They got
Yeah.
to, by now it has to be.
Well,
I know
they
there's no
do.
cure
Now,
yet,
I
thought that they had medicine that they have to take.
They do. They gave
And they're IV.
They gave him a lot of medicine, but the medicine was too strong. It was killing him.
So then they do have some kind of medicine.
It's the adult medicine that they're breaking down.
Oh my
To
goodness.
fit the weight, the body, and the mass of the child.
Ugh.
But it works because it has saved millions of lives. Which
But what about the people that you were with? Are they all still friends today or no?
no, they're all deceased. Each year when we go to the Sunshine
Wait a minute,
House,
hold up. You said all of them were...
all except my grandson. I don't know. God had his hand on him, because every year we would come back to the Sunshine House. We do our party. We do our dancing.
I'm sorry. How many was in that group?
It was 9 to start.
And
Two
they were
of them-
different
yeah,
different
two-
ages?
Yes. They were all in the 1 to 7 years old. Everybody was young. I think the oldest one was 7.
Do you guys keep in touch with
We
them?
did. Every year when we meet, we swap
So
numbers.
y'all still meet now?
No, everybody's gone.
Oh, I'm so stupid. She just said that. I'm
We don't-
tripping.
my daughter don't go anymore because once I started talking to the nurse, she said, you can do holistic, and I do that anyway. I started Googling things that cleanse the blood. You can eat certain things that will rejuvenate your cells.
Right.
It will cleanse your blood. So I Googled the foods that would help. And I was just, every Saturday, that was the only thing he got for that day.
The things that you knew that the
Will
natural
clean blood.
stuff of the earth. And it says continue doing your some of your daily activities.
Yeah.
Just you have to stay. You have to do something to not be. I guess because it will mess you up, and it says
it will drain you.
take care of your relationship. Is that
some parents
something?
weren't able to cope, and they would send the child to the center and leave them, and let the nurses or whoever.
Wait a minute. When you say center,
cancer center.
okay, I see. I'm thinking daycare.
No, CHOA is one of the best ones here.
Who is?
CHOA, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Okay, gotcha.
They have I think it's the 3rd or the 5th floor, and it's Aflac, all Aflac. They pay for pretty much everything.
Aflac is that duck, right?
Yes.
I didn't know, and that's a form of insurance, right?
Yes.
I didn't know that they had anything to do with it.
They treat these kids like royalty. Doesn't matter
so
where
good.
you're coming
I
from
know,
or what you
St.
need.
Jude and
Now that we did, once we realized that he was slowly dying from what they were trying. The reason why they were giving him some medicine so much is because it had already started destroying his body. So there wasn't a lot you can do to bring him back other than to pump him with medicine. He didn't do chemo. They did a liquid kind. I guess they were sticking it. And everything they were giving him was giving him seizures. So now you have to give him medicine to stop the seizures.
so the medicine. They were given a medicine, so they do have the medicine. But you're saying it's the adult medicine that they're breaking down.
Yes.
But one of the nurses told you that.
What she said was, they don't really have cancer medicine for kids. It's broken down. But that's pretty much with anything. They don't expect kids to get this. Although you are a human, whatever a human gets, all human gets. You just don't find it in kids, because they haven't lived long enough to get anything. But he was born with it. We just didn't catch it till he got in his, I think, first year. Yeah.
I wonder. Okay. How does cancer start in a child?
There's no way to detect it.
Okay, it says most cancer in children, like those in adults, are through or thought to develop as a result of mutation in the genes that lead to uncontrolled cell growth
I believe
and
that.
eventually cancer.
Yes.
So it's in them already, or
Yes.
somebody in the family, or
It's pretty much like, well, I can't say how you live because he's a kid, he's a baby.
Yeah.
But
And he was so
it could
young.
be genetic. It could be genetic.
But his mother didn't have it, right?
No, but
It could have been someone down the line or something.
His father.
Did his dad have it?
No. Not that I know of.
Okay,
But
but
I
it
don't-
could have
I
been
don't
somebody
know
on
the
his side of the
I
family.
don't know
Yes,
the
okay,
generation.
okay.
But see, the thing about it, you can't detect it unless you are up on your child's health. I mean, regular. My mom had it, and I asked her about it. She said, cancer doesn't hurt. And I kind of like, I didn't understand that.
You're right.
But then when he got it, it was in him a whole year before he started.
And that's what I was gonna ask
So
as
I
well.
didn't understand how it doesn't hurt. And I think because he was so, I guess as a grown up, it affects the body differently. Because you've lived long enough to, be able to fight or do something more than a kid can to survive.
What kind of cancer did your grandson have?
Oh, it was aggressive. It was called
Leukemia?
Yeah, it was
Because that's
I think it's called BLL leukemia.
because they said that's the
Most aggressive.
no, not most aggressive, the most common one in the children. I read that, and I'll probably have it on one of these. And then it says, what was your child's first symptoms of leukemia? Most common symptoms, breathlessness, Was he out of breath?
No, he was a baby. He was one. He was just
Looking
learning to walk.
looking pale or feeling very tired due to the low red blood cells.
Well, he wasn't moving like he normally did. I noticed that, and I kept telling him. That's why we kept going, because I said, he's not being himself. And then when he started to cry a lot and not touch him, I said something is wrong with him. Thus, we made that second visit, that third visit, that fourth visit. But you can't actively look at your child, because some of them have it and they're still functioning. They're still playing.
The most common in children is
but it's
the
different
leukemia.
it's different versions of that. It's leukemia, but it's a different version. Some are worse than the other. What he had was an aggressive type,
Lord
which
Jesus.
is why it had gotten him so bad in so short of a notice. Had we not found it then, he wouldn't be here, because it was already in the bones. It was already breaking the bones. He was just going through so much. So they kept him there for a month, injecting everything they can get to bring him back to some form of normalcy. What it did was cause him a severe weight loss. So he was just limp. And then finally my daughter broke down. She's like, "Mom, they're treating him like he's dying." And I looked at her and I said, they're doing what they can do. He was dying, but I never admitted
he wasn't able to eat?
They tube you. They tube you because your system. See, mind you, you don't have an immune, so you can't go anywhere. You can't leave your room. Your nurses come in; they have to be in full-on gear. I'm talking that stuff you see in NASA where they got the suits on.
Right.
They have to wear that every single time they come in there.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then they quarantine you when you come in. So what I started doing was I would stay outside the door while my daughter would go in. She would have to stay for a week. And I'd have to run the household and the kids. And then when I come and stay for a week, she would do that. They will quarantine you to make sure that you're not bringing
stuff back in
that will kill him.
That's almost that's almost like COVID when it was.
Pretty much, it kills. Leukemia kills slower than COVID, depending on the version.
Okay, it says, how long can a child have leukemia without knowing? With an acute leukemia, ALL or AML, and you were just saying that there were different ones, I don't know, these symptoms may occur suddenly in a matter of days or week. With chronic leukemia, CML, these symptoms may develop slowly over months to years. It is important to understand that the symptoms of leukemia may resemble other blood disorders or medical problems, because everything that I'm reading about it, girl, it seems like it could be you got a cold or you should not. I guess
it's internal, which is why you can't catch it. You know what I'm saying? It starts from the inside. By the time it reaches the outer version of your body, it's bad. So now they're fighting against time to save that child. And it's not an easy process for the child or the parent, because now your whole life is disrupted. And I don't mean in a bad way. I mean, you have to be strong for the child. You have to be strong for yourself. You can't show your fear, your tears. All that has to be locked down when you visit that child. They don't know what's going on, other than they can't leave that room.
I hope that never happens, because
But you know what?
like everybody always say, you wear your emotions on your sleeve. People can see in my face when something.
That's
but
what,
I guess you do get that motherly strength and that grandma strength.
It's not easy. You would have to check yourself at the door. You have to draw them tears up. You have to make sure you're in good spirits. You have to go in there with a smile even though you don't feel like it. And that has to maintain the whole visit. Now the nurses come in there, that's their job, so they're on point all the time with that.
You know what? I understand what you're saying, because I remember doing that with my Aunt Virginia. She was in the hospital, and I was very, very close to her. And my cousin Gina and John, Phil and Steve, all of us was there, and we were around, and the preacher was there praying over her body. And I have this look on my face, and I'm just like, I could feel numb, and I was numb in my body, but I was still just looking like, okay, I better not show. I better not show. I wanted to faint. That's how bad. And so I waited till he finished praying, and we are all looking at each other and stuff. And I know everybody felt the same way. And I think that the kids were there too. Gina's kids. However, after he finished and everybody went to their, we were in the hospital and we were just sitting in, in different places, just sitting and just being there. I walked outside.
Yes.
And yeah, I walked outside because I had to get those tears out.
Yeah.
And Gina came to check on me. And when I looked at her, I said, I can't hold it in any longer. And I just fell to my knees. I bent down and she fell to her knees with me. And we were just crying on the floor together. And I was like, see, I knew everybody felt the same way, but we had to hold that in. That's a bad thing to try to hold a cry in.
Yes.
Ooh.
And you have to do that for years.
Oh my
God! You don't know how
gosh.
long it's going to last. We did. I left the room first after he said that, and I was standing in the hallway, and I had my face in the corner, and I was crying. And the check nurse, the one that checked you in, was sitting there, and I was just boo-hooing, and she said, it's going to be okay. And I turned around and looked at her, and she recognized me. She's like, Miss Andrews. I said, yes. It was my principal from the school.
Oh my gosh.
She was a nurse. She was a nurse, a head nurse. So she kind of got me through it.
She
said,
knew
well,
you.
Yeah, she said, it's going to be hard. I won't lie to you. She's going to be really hard, and there's going to be days you're not even going to be able to make it. But you will. She said, but you have to remain strong, not for yourself, but for your grand. You're going to have to be the backbone. You have to be everything there is. I said, I can't do this.
How long has she been a nurse?
I don't know, but she was there, and apparently she was on the cancer floor, so she's seen it a million times, and she can't tell you the results, but she can tell you how to deal with it.
But that's, at least it was somebody that you knew, and it probably made you feel.
It did.
Can't make you feel better because the cancer is there, but just to know that
It
this
eased a
lady
little.
knows
Yes.
me. She knew me as a child herself. The high school, you said
She was the
principal?
yeah.
Wow.
And then the nurse, Molly, oh my God. When I tell you that little girl was a godsend. When I tell you, she said, when he would check in, she was standing at the door. Come on in, Carrington. And he'd be looking up, and she's like, I know you don't want to do this, but you know you got to. He had gotten so comfortable with her that when he goes in, he goes, go ahead and stick me. And she said, look at him. He's
so
arrogant
good.
now. He's a monster now. He's got it down pat because they put,
Go ahead and do what you gotta do.
when
Here
he
you
was sitting there,
go.
he used the first year and a half, it was crazy. We couldn't get him through the door. He didn't like white suits. When he saw that jacket, he knew what was going to happen. Ooh, you have to almost straight jacket him. But as time went on, with Molly, she made it so comfortable for him to when he comes in, he'd be like,
It might not be good, but this lady is sweet to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and do what I have to do.
He would
She's
look
gonna make
back.
it as comfortable as she
she
can.
made it her business that the days that he came in, those are the days she worked. She never missed an appointment with him. And she stayed with him till the next shift. And she said, I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna do a double. Then when he leaves, I'm leave because once they do it, he leaves. And what she do when she leaves at night, her shift starts again in the morning. So she was there. When I say she was there like a mother,
See, that's what I'm talking about. Those are the kind of special nurses and people
absolutely,
that you
without a
need
doubt.
as nurses and doctors that
She
are
was
very
a-
sympathetic and
Yes.
loving and caring and all of that.
she really did more than her duty calls for.
She was
Very
that was
compassionate, very
meant for her.
loving. It wasn't a job for her. It was a lifestyle. And she loved what she did. She would hug on him. She would pick him up. And the days he was feeling awful, she said, I know you don't feel good. I don't either. She said, but we can eat some ice cream before we go in there. Let's go. And they would dip around the hall, go to the refrigerator, get ice cream, and come back. He'd be sitting there like this. And she's like
waiting on that.
yeah.
Oh.
But he would get in there sometimes. He'd be like, come on, I already know what you're finna do. She said, look at him. I said, you know, he's been doing this for like 3 years, so he's immune. But it gets better. I would say that first year, no, you just got to go through it because there is nothing, no one can tell you, first of all, about your kid. They can't tell you how long it's going to be. They can't tell you what the outcome is. All they can do is say, man, we can keep giving him this medicine. We don't keep watching him. But he couldn't go home. So you have to make every single day count because you don't know if you get there, he's not going to be there. So you have to, after work, your 12, 15 hours, you still had to go by the hospital, which is worth it. Because as we went, we get over there. He's playing in the bed. He's pulling on his cords. He's up and moving around. I'm like, what, Molly, what's going on? She said, it's working. I was like, oh, God, thank you. So, but they give him food through the tube.
What you just said it just made me think when you go visit him, and you never know if that's going to be the day that he just not
Might
there.
not be there. Yeah. A
There-
couple of them did. They
some-
weren't.
Yes, I know.
And
like
it's not easy.
yeah, but I was just thinking, you know, you're a mother, I'm a mother, and I know a whole bunch of other mothers. And I think that if you were to ask a mother, what is the worst pain a mother can endure? And I would say death to my children. I would say death. But I think that what you're telling me now is up there with death,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you're watching them just hurt and not be okay every day, and you're
No,
scared.
you're
and
not.
you don't know. But I don't. I'm not trying to go tit for tat. I'm not trying to weigh in which one is worse. No, but both of those are things. Those are the main two that
Of course.
that will get that will break down the
Yeah.
toughest mother.
No mother on the planet should ever, for any reason, ever have to bury a child.
Right.
It is the child that buries the mother.
That's the way it's supposed
That's
to
the
go.
way life is
However,
set.
no,
Well,
that's
supposed to be,
no,
but
that's the way.
it was meant to be.
That's the way that we think, because of the way that, and it's just better that way,
Yeah.
However, you go when God say it's
That is not the
time.
case. True.
Huh?
I said that is not the case. You will, one day, God forbid what your lifestyle is, have to bury a parent.
No.
I
I'm
get
saying,
what you're saying.
yeah, that
You don't
even,
make that call. It is God's will.
but even if a child passed before you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying in your head, and you're feeling a certain way, that wait a minute, I'm not supposed to bury my child, and every mother on this planet will feel that way, and I get it.
Absolutely.
However, God's plan is perfect, and when He said
Absolutely.
it's time for you to go, even though you were burying your child, it was time when it was written, when they were born. It was written the day that they check out.
Amen.
So but it's just a bad thing,
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into that, but it's a bad thing, and and I'm just saying that those two things. I never think about the cancer, and what people go through, but listening to your story. Anyone that has a child with cancer, or even just a loved one, but a child, to me, it just takes the cake. Is really up there. Who can go through that? I do believe that they have special places for in heaven for them, because to deal with that, you're just a special person anyway. That takes every being,
Fiber
every
of
fiber,
your being.
every being, your soul, your spirit. All of that has to be active.
Yes.
All of it. So,
Mindset
and I just could
change.
not, huh?
Your mindset change.
Oh, of course.
Your thought process change. I mean, it's just so much that goes into a different direction from your life plan.
Well, it says how to avoid cancer in kids. When I read this, guys, I was like, okay, this is from Google, but I just Google can say whatever Google want to say. Certain things I'll pick and choose what I want to believe if Google is right about. It says stay safe stay safe in the sun. Okay, put your sun protector on. Skin cancer.
helps.
And that's with adults and not just children.
Absolutely.
But it says how to avoid child cancer. Okay, get your child vaccinated against HPV. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Now,
See, everybody has a different opinion about that.
I do, because with these shots and vaccinations, these
This
are
will
making
stop. It'll avoid cancer. I can't get into that. I'm gonna let you one moment. I can't get into that because I don't know if it does. I got to do my research, but being vaccinated stop cancer. Well, we'll look into that. We'll come back with that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and it says help your kids stay active and keep them healthy with their weight. Now, I do know that weight is a factor,
It is.
with cancer. I have read that. So Google is on it a little bit here. talk to your kids about smoking. We do know that smoking has something to do with, you know, your lung cancer and stuff like that. So
That's what I'm saying. There's
yeah, you
various
tell your
pieces.
kids, huh?
There's various things where you can get cancer.
Right,
You
things-
can have brain,
yeah.
you can have lung, you can have kidneys, you can have uterus.
Okay,
There's
speaking
so
of
many
that,
have breast
speaking
cancer.
of that, when you said brain, it says what is the deadliest childhood cancer? While childhood cancer is often associated with leukemia, data from the U.S. Census, the U.S. Center of Disease Control and Prevention, which is CDC,
Yes.
found that brain cancer is now the deadliest pediatric cancer.
Because they can't detect it, and your brain has so many avenues. Once you give that medicine, it just goes to the active part. Your cancer may be in the inactive part, and in order to get over there, it's going to take some act of God, basically. But getting back to your vaccinations, there was I'm not sure where I saw it, but it was on Doctors Reveal. It was a holistic nurse. She said that
A holy what?
holistic, when you don't do medicine, you do
Okay,
herbs and
holistic.
things
Okay, I'm
from the earth. She was talking to a CDC person, and she said, can you verify that once these kids start taking these vaccinations, this is where your autism came in, this is where your difficulty in children's motor skills came in. He said, I can neither confirm or deny.
They can.
Yeah, they can't admit it. Big
No.
farmers are here to make money, so they're gonna tell you what works for them. But just, daily routine with your kids, eating healthy, kids don't normally exercise because they get it anyway running around.
But it's a mutation. That's what I read.
But see, you can muster anything in your body. You can hold it at bay. You can't. Anything. The brain is the only thing you cannot totally control. Because you're only using some of it.
That's a difficult thing. That brain is something else. Well, did your grandchild have a blood transfusion at all?
I think they did. Some of the procedures they were kind of doing when needed.
Did it help him when he had it? Was he stronger?
That's what I'm saying. I think they did because when we left him, he was limpless. He was not moving. He was just
They
dead.
had to tell you. I bet you the mother would know.
But when we came back, he was up, and she said, "We got a surprise for you." And I'm like, "Is he going home?" She's like, "No." But when she opened the door, he was all over the bed. I said, "We were catching him to keep him from jumping off the bed."
Oh my
He was
gosh!
up and moving.
Now, see, I would have been crying.
And
like I said,
oh my goodness,
crying about everything.
we could not hold it, and it was like, "Oh my God!"
I would have been crying, but they would have been
everywhere.
happy tears. I've been
Oh,
running
yeah.
around with him.
Yeah, it was so shocking to see him laying lifeless. Then he was up jumping around. They were bringing him ice cream, and he was just playing with the toys they had all in his bed because they can't, they have to sanitize everything. And he was just back to life, and it was a blessing because, like I say, before we left, none of that was going on. But when we came back, so I'm not sure what they did or what they gave him. Might have been a transfusion that they cleared with the mom, but he came from 0 to 100.
Oh my! So how old is your grandson now? The one that had leukemia?
He's 12 now. But what they do is now he still goes to the
So
cancer
wait a minute.
centers.
Is he cancer free? Does he
He
still
is.
have it or?
It's in remission.
Okay.
But what they tell you, if you can, the medicine can work, and
So he's still on medicine?
he goes every year to be checked to make sure it's not coming back, because they did warn us when
Lord have mercy.
I
That's just
continue to
something
see.
in your head.
I never stopped giving him what kept his blood clean. I never stopped, even to this day.
So they give you something that stopped the blood.
No, I Google. You remember? I
Yeah,
Googled
right, okay,
the
okay.
food that cleans
Okay,
the blood. You
yeah,
can
yeah.
eat yourself. The planet heals the body.
The planet gives you things that help you.
Everything
You can
you
find, yes.
You don't have to do. Most people rely on pharmaceutical. It's faster. It's easier.
Mm-hmm.
But you can eat yourself 1,000% healthy. You can.
Yeah.
And when I Googled what cleansed the blood, because it was about the blood cells.
That's why a lot of people do herbs, guys.
Absolutely.
And
I'm a strong believer.
The real deal stuff.
And I was giving it to him. I never stopped.
That's why people smoke weed. That was just something
They
thrown out there, but they do.
he was
It
too
does
small.
help.
They suggested that, but he was too small to do it, so we
'Cause
couldn't really give it to
does.
him.
The
But the good part-
cannabis.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But see, it was new to kids, you know.
Uh-huh.
So what they did was they told us that as long as you are doing what you do, because every time we went in, his counts were getting less, less, and less.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Nana, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She says his counts are going down. I said, what does that mean? Is he getting worse? She said, no, that's a good thing. That means you are battling the cancer. And
You know what? I would ask her, what did she do? But because we are using YouTube, we cannot give you advice of how to concoct something at home. So we're not going to say that. However, I'm just glad that it did work. And, you know, you can read up yourself and find things to help you, you know, or ask your doctor. I'm sure that
they'll tell you. A doctor
Mm-hmm.
will put you on a fruit and veggie diet.
Mm-hmm.
They help fix the body.
Okay.
They don't say, hey, stop taking your medicine. I would recommend that to anyone.
You know what? I read something. I'm not really sure, guys. I need to know. The yellow, that yellow little flower.
Dandelion in
that's
your yard.
In your yard, yes.
You can literally pick that up
And
put it
eat
in
it.
some hot water
Yeah.
and make tea. Or you can literally pick it from the ground, clean it off, and eat it.
And what does that? Oh, see.
I
We are not
personally-
telling you guys to do it.
I'm
It's just
saying.
something I read, and I know I read that, so you read it too.
I've done it. I walk my dogs and I make sure I hit the part they don't hit. And I was sitting there, I was like, okay, I know this is an herbal plant. And I picked it up and I'm gnawing on, I had like 3 of them and I was just chewing on them.
And
It wasn't a bad taste, it just, you know, it's a plant. You
now
think,
I've
oh.
never eaten it,
Oh,
but
I do.
but I've heard it, and then certain things will pop up on like Facebook or Instagram where it says these are very good remedies for this, that, and the third and the other.
And
But
they grow in your yard.
yeah, so yeah, but here it says what I don't believe this one. It's Google, but you probably could tell me because you have walked the walk, you and your daughter. But I just certain things I don't
Google's
believe,
not always
and I'm
right.
gonna choose to believe what I want to because I can. What are the odds of my child will have cancer? I don't believe. How do you know? How could they even write an estimate or whatever? But I'm gonna read what it says. Approximately 1 in 285 children in the U.S. will be diagnosed with cancer before their 20th birthday. I rebuke that. Globally, there are more than 300,000 children diagnosed with cancer each year. Every 3 minutes. Now this will blow you away. Because when I read this, I said, no, I don't want to believe it. So I'm not going to believe it. So, and I can do that because I can. Every 3 minutes, everywhere in the world, a family hears the devastating words that your child has been diagnosed with cancer. Every 3 minutes. I know it's a lot of people on the world. They didn't say the United States. They said the world.
Billions.
But still,
That could be
every
very factful.
3 minutes. Pardon?
That could be very factful.
I don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. I'm not going to believe it. So, you know what? What you speak, power's in the tongue. I don't believe it. I won't believe it. It is not true. It is not so. That's just how I'm gonna be. I'm sorry. Y'all can call me whatever you want. You ignorant girl. It's statistics show. I don't care why I show. I'm not gonna believe it. I don't want to believe it. That is not happening. It's just not.
Even when it appears, you still in denial because you don't believe this is happening to your child or to your family member. So that denial will be there from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is how you deal with it. It what makes it a little easier to get through.
Well, now you know what? That is so true because it's always your attitude. Mm-hmm. Because if you and that's with anything, not just cancer.
Right.
If something happens, it's the way that you react to it or you handle it. Right. You could your body. Do you know your body react to how happy you are or how sad you are?
You can't go into these rooms with
the
way you feel.
Right.
Because they can feel what you feel.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So you have to, you have to just try your best to have a positive attitude.
Stay encouraged. Believe.
Stay encouraged. Get a support group.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so
important.
It would blow you away to know the millions of people who
Going through what you're going
Yes.
through or worse.
and they reach out to you, even though they're going through the same exact thing. They are still willing to give you help, advice, support, whatever you need.
And that's why people need to donate. We have, the National Pediatric Center Foundation. Is that the one you were talking about? You said that was really good. That wasn't it? Okay, St. Jude's. These are ones that,
Familiar with that.
guys, if you could just donate and just help, because every little bit helps, and nothing is too small. Nothing is too small. So whatever you can give. St. Jude.
St. Jude is the #1 cancer survivor center.
Oh.
in the
Okay.
world. They have brought more kids from cancer to life.
So
They have a
I can't even-
high percent of turnaround to where these kids are living.
Well, honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I have to. I shouldn't say it, but I was looking for my shirt. I have a shirt, yes, that says. I was so angry. I was like, I couldn't find it. It says, "This shirt saved lives."
They do.
And when you donate, and you know, it depends on how much you donate. When you donate, quite a bit, they give you this shirt, and it's really nice. I wanted to wear it today, and I couldn't find it, but it's okay. And I didn't need to say that, but I'm just saying. So I didn't know that they were the #1 where they. You said that they are survivors.
Yes.
I just know I like supporting them, and I donate, and I'm going to start doing it with the rest of them. But that's my #1, St. Jude. But okay, the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation, St. Jude, Cure, Children's Center Research, Ronald McDonald House, American Cancer Society. Guys, choose one or choose them all.
Yes.
And donate and help. I hope that, today we just wanted to tell you a little bit about, what a child would go through. I'm so
Yes.
thankful that you were here to tell your story. The symptoms, guys, are so close to just the common flu sometimes, and you really don't know, but just always check your child. Take them to the doctor and like they did. I hope you don't take no for an answer, especially after the second time. 3 and 4 and 5 times, that's crazy. But nevertheless, I hope that somebody got something out of this, and anyone that is, any mother, any father, I don't want to leave them out, that has a child who has cancer or has gone through cancer, this is your month. This is your month. And we wish you well. We wish your children well, and we wish that they get through it and you come out with flying colors. Yes. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. As always, guys, feel the rumble and listen to the roar. Bye-bye.